Have you ever found yourself wondering if there's really a difference between a biscuit and a cookie? You're not alone. For many English speakers around the world, these two words can cause some serious confusion. In the United States, the word cookie brings to mind something sweet, chewy, and maybe filled with chocolate chips. But in the United Kingdom, that same word biscuit could describe something crisp and crunchy, often enjoyed with a cup of tea. So how did we end up with two different words for what seems like the same treat? Let's dive into the fascinating history and cultural story behind biscuits and cookies. Let's explore, right here, on History of Simple Things. Let's start by going way back, before cookies or biscuits even existed. The idea of baking small, dry pieces of dough isn't new at all. In fact, it dates back thousands of years to when early civilizations like the Romans and Egyptians baked simple mixtures of flour and water to create food that was easy to carry and could last a long time. These early biscuits were nothing like the sweet snacks we think of today. They were hard and dry, almost like crackers. They were meant for soldiers, sailors, and travelers who needed food that wouldn't spoil easily. The very word biscuit actually comes from the Latin phrase bis coctus, which means twice cooked. That's because early biscuits were baked twice to remove moisture and make them last longer. As time went on, these basic biscuits began to evolve. By the Middle Ages in Europe, bakers started experimenting with adding sugar, honey, and spices. In England, these sweetened versions became a popular treat among the wealthy. They were often served during fancy gatherings and tea parties. Meanwhile, in other parts of Europe, such as the Netherlands, similar treats were being made and called Koekje, which literally means little cake. When Dutch immigrants brought their baking traditions to America in the 1600s, that word koekje eventually transformed into the English word cookie. And that's where the great divide began, between the biscuit-loving Brits and the cookie-loving Americans. In the United Kingdom, the word biscuit continued to describe sweet, crunchy baked goods that were typically dry and crisp. Think of something like a digestive biscuit, a rich tea biscuit, or a shortbread. These are designed to be dunked into tea or coffee and have a satisfying snap when you bite into them. On the other hand, in the United States, cookie became the word for soft, chewy treats like chocolate chip cookies, oatmeal raisin cookies, and peanut butter cookies. So, while both originated from the same baking tradition, regional culture and language shaped how they developed and what we call them today. But here's where things get even more interesting, because the word biscuit means something completely different in the U.S. If you walk into an American restaurant and order a biscuit, you won't get something crunchy or sweet. Instead, you'll be served a soft, flaky bread roll, kind of like a scone, often eaten with butter or gravy during breakfast. This American biscuit evolved from a type of quick bread that became popular in the southern United States in the 1800s, made with buttermilk, baking soda, and flour. So depending on where you are in the world, ordering a biscuit could get you either a crisp tea snack or a warm, fluffy bread. Now let's talk about texture, because that's one of the biggest differences between biscuits and cookies. British biscuits are designed to be crunchy. They're baked until most of the moisture is gone, which is why they can last for weeks in a tin without going bad. Cookies, however, usually contain more fat and sugar, which helps them stay soft and chewy. That's also why cookies tend to be thicker and more decadent, while biscuits are lighter and crisper. Some people even say that cookies are biscuits that didn't dry out all the way. But that's just a fun way to put it. What's also fascinating is how these treats have adapted to local cultures around the world. In Australia and New Zealand, for example, the term biscuit is still widely used, but it can refer to a range of textures, some crunchy, some chewy, like the famous Anzac biscuits made from oats and golden syrup. In Canada, you'll hear both terms used depending on the influence of British or American traditions. And in many parts of Asia, the word biscuit often refers to any packaged, sweet, or savory snack, while cookie is reserved for imported Western-style sweets. If we look at the food industry today, these differences are also reflected in marketing. Big brands like Oreo or Chips Ahoy are always labeled as cookies in the US, but in the UK, those same products are often sold under the label Biscuits. This isn't just about language, it's about how people in different cultures expect these treats to taste and feel. For example, in Britain, something soft like a chocolate chip cookie would be categorized as a soft-baked biscuit, just to make it fit the local vocabulary. So, which one is correct, biscuit or cookie? The truth is, both are right. It just depends on where you are and what kind of treat you're talking about. The fun part is that this simple difference in terminology tells us a lot about how language and culture evolve over time. What started as a simple twice-baked bread for travelers became two distinct snacks loved by millions around the world. At the end of the day, whether you call it a biscuit or a cookie, it's hard to deny that these treats have a special place in our hearts. They bring comfort, nostalgia, and even a bit of national pride. The next time you bite into a crunchy biscuit or a gooey cookie, remember, you're not just tasting sugar and flour, you're tasting centuries of culinary history shaped by travel, language, and tradition. Thank you for watching. If you have suggestions for our next video, feel free to share them in the comments below. We'll be sure to give you an acknowledgement for your contribution. If you enjoyed this video, please check out our other bingeable channels. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the history of simple things. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more stories woven through the smallest details.